I'm 6'4", 85.7 kilograms. I'm a skinny guy, but I can punch my way through almost anything. I'm a Tasmanian devil. I have ADHD and dyslexia, as you heard. ADHD is Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. So the amount of energy it takes me to stand still is very hard to explain. So, yes. I'm the second born. I have an older sister and a younger brother. Growing up, I had typical middle-class parents. My mom is a pharmacist. She was then a nurse, and my dad was a dentist or working towards being one. And we lived a very typical middle-class life. We lived in Umoja, and then we moved to Kirichwa Road, and then we moved to Buru, and just like 6 times. And my mom was a hard worker, so we had 27 house helps in my preteen years. Preteen, we're not talking teenage, because that's something I didn't know. Being the kid that I was, everything was an experiment. And my parents once got us 2 rabbits, my younger brother and I. The gap is 3 years. And when my mom was getting us 2 rabbits, my dad was getting a washing machine. So the rabbits obviously wound up in the washing machine. I mean, does that even surprise you? The beating we got was epic. Epic. Unbelievable. But that was one of the things that we set a cat on fire, we got the cats drunk. Nobody knows the alcoholic level of a cat. I needed to do that. It's tough. And growing up, that really was our life. I have one specific story. We really wanted to know how the coefficient of balance, you see, you have to be sharp to be my friend, how the coefficient of balance works on a bicycle. So what we did was we unscrewed the front wheel, put the bike at the top of a hill, made sure there's a kayapul fence at the end of the hill. For those of you who do not know what that is, that's a fence about this thick that has only thorns. And decided, let's see who can do a wheelie straight through it. And I was the first to try. And so when I did the wheelie, you know what happens to bicycles when you do wheelies and they're not screwed in? They always go to the left. And the bike went straight into the kayapul fence. I think I still have thorns today. But what does an average, busy parent in Kenya do when you have a son like that? You take him to an approved school. And I was taken to Naivasha boarding. So let me explain Naivasha boarding to you in a sentence. It's going to be in Swahili. I will translate. Mahabusu ukata nyasi. Which directly translates to mean our grass was cut by prisoners. I was 9, about this high, and I joined the school on January 21st, 1980, thereabouts. As a 9-year-old with ADHD in a classroom in Naivasha boarding, when you get in, the first thing they do is make sure you are respected. So they give you the middle table. I sat in the middle of the class. Not on the left, not on the right, not to the front, not to the back, in the middle. And the t-shirt I went with, I still remember it to this day, was a Superman t-shirt. S. I could not be conquered. Ask the cats, I could not be conquered. This was my proverbial constant way of being in class. I knew everything. I was always answering the questions or trying to answer the questions. My class teacher, let's call him Mr. So-and-so. I honestly can't remember his name, but let's just say Mr. So-and-so. Noticed that and zoned in on me. And he was like, you're very disrespectful, I don't understand you. Every time I ask a question, your hand is up. What do you think everybody else is stupid? You're the only clever one in the class. I counted. For 77 days, he found a reason to beat me. 77 days. I'm 40. 39. When I shave, I don't look, by the way. It's true. I was 9. I remember to this day like it was yesterday. My parents don't know. My sister doesn't know. My brother doesn't know. Apart from you, there's only one other person on the planet I have told this to. Everyone else was in my class and we witnessed it. And they don't need to feel sorry for me. I don't need their pity because they also got beaten every day. Now, his goal was very simple, to break us all. Every single boy in that classroom, every single boy in that school, we were 606, was broken every day. I was there the first term, and every Saturday, I'd put on my Superman t-shirt, I'd be back. And we'd be out there, we'd be playing sports, I'd be the guy who wants to run everyone down. I was teaching people rugby, I got it wrong. I was teaching people basketball, I used a rugby ball. Tough. But as long as I had my Superman t-shirt, I was good. And then Monday came, and it started again. And we did this for a whole term. And then holidays came, and of course, what do you put on when you go home? Superman t-shirt. And I was a superhero. My parents asked me how I'm doing. School is excellent. I'd see the way my younger brother, who had gone to St. Nicholas Primary School, what the hell, was being treated and how his life was, and how he struggled with his homework. I still got into trouble, and at the end of the holidays, back to Naivasha boarding. And I'd go with my Superman t-shirt because I knew what it did for me. A year ended, the guy left the school, or died, I'm not sure. And at the end of that year, the Superman t-shirt didn't fit, which is kind of sad. So I decided I'm going to do something interesting. I took a fence. There's a fence in Naivasha. I don't know what it's called. But then when you break the stem, white, milky water comes out. Yeah. See, these are Naivasha people. These ones, I don't know where you're from. And I took a thorn from the fence, and I wrote Superman on my hand. And I took that milk and I poured it on top, so it sticks. When my mom saw that, that story changed. St. Nicholas Primary School. I was like, why didn't you tell me this before? The problem was I carried the teacher with me. There's a thing called the audience of one. You are an audience. I am speaking, presenting to you. The same way we do this in our minds. We have an audience in our minds. Usually it's one person or two. It could be a parent, a teacher, a child, a love that went wrong, somebody that abused you, anything. But that person has more control over you than you ever can on yourself. I carried him. I put a seat in my mind and said, as long as you're not happy with me, I'm not deserving of love, of affection, of support, of anything. I'm 6'4", 85.5 kgs, but I still can't get him out of that seat, at least all the time. I went through primary school. I was not that big, but I had that coefficient of bullying, which basically means you look like a victim, because I was. So my primary school life was horrific, because I had that gene, I had that look, I was that kid. I couldn't fight back. I didn't know how. I lost my Superman t-shirt. When I was in primary school, because of the way I studied dyslexic and I do books with pictures more than anything else, I was really, really good. I was really, really good. I was so good, when I finished, I beat everyone in the school with a distance. That was my payback. It took 6 years, though. It was not a good payback. Personally, I just like to punch them in the face. I got into a very good high school. When I was in Mangu, I met knuckleheads. These people, they absorb content. So now there, I went back to typeset, which for those of you who don't know, the book is printed like this. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. There was no pictures, and if there were, they were written by the guys who read the book 5 or 7 years before. And so I failed through high school. It was very difficult. Remember, I have that guy in my mind reminding me of how failed, how flawed I am. Every time I do something, I place it at his feet in my mind, and he'd tell me I failed. He ruined my self-esteem. He ruined my self-worth. He had all but ruined my sense of self. The way I was going to start this talk was by saying, on September 17th, 2001, was the first time I tried it. And then on March 6th, 2005 was the second time I tried it. That was the second time I tried to kill myself. He had that much power over me. I finished high school, went into uni. I was there 10 years. I did 2 degrees. I was done with that. I started a company. It failed. Started another one. It succeeded. I started the NILAB. It went on to become what it is. I gave it to Sam. I left after raising $5.5 million for it. I was not 30. I took that to him. He didn't like it. So I left. I didn't make noise about it. But Sam knows how hard we worked to make it what it was. Moved from that, and because I really want to save kids who are struggling with what I'm struggling with, I started a startup called Kitabu. Raised $500,000 for it. I do that all the time because I was trying to get that guy out of that seat. I'm in my 30s. And I did everything I could to impress him. Everything. I met Obama at his White House. I've got a couple of kings that I've greeted hands with, and they've given me prizes. I've hugged one of them. I've met 2 Nobel laureates. I've done things if I tell myself when I was young I'm going to do, I would be so surprised by myself. But as recently as today, someone reminded me that you lack self-respect. The thing about people sitting in your mind is that you don't see them. They're there. And it can be anyone. It can even be you who sits there. Pride, fear, hurt, anger, unforgiveness. That's you who sits there and enslaves you. You're lonely, you're miserable, your life is hard. You're always busy getting nowhere. It's hard because of you. I know that I fight with this guy every day. I've done so many amazing things, but none of them work for him. It's not because the things are not amazing, it's because he's not amazing. And I keep trying to kick him out of that seat. I succeed sometimes. Sometimes I say no. Sometimes I decide I'm not going to give my money for something stupid. Sometimes I say I'm going to think about myself as well as think about other people instead of just thinking about other people and sacrificing myself to prove that I'm worthy. Sometimes I do all these things. And sometimes I find my superhero t-shirt. But sometimes I lose it. And it's hard to find. And you know what's really bad? There are 606 other people who went through what I went through. Some of you are calling them toxic men. It's fine. They probably are. But sometimes it's because somebody worked their life off breaking them. I was there for a year. I'm at an engaged talk. I'm okay. The girl was there until he was in class 8. And you're probably married to him. What? At the end of the day, though, let me give you a little bit of advice from a person who's happy to say that I'm struggling with getting broken and unbroken every day. There are people out there who will love you, even if you don't have it all together. They will. They will go through the hell that you go through with you, and they'll try to pick you up. There are people who will go out of their way to make sure that you are what you are and not what you think you are. They will tell you you're amazing even if you think you're overweight. They will tell you you're phenomenal even if you failed your 5th interview and you can't get a job. They'll tell you you're fantastic even if you get rejected over and over again by some guy or some girl. They will make you feel worthy because you are enough. But there are people who won't. And that's all I'll say because I know we've all met them. I had something on my phone to finish off, which I can never remember because I'm just not that guy. I'm okay with it, don't worry. When we deny the story, it defines us. When we own the story, we can write a brave new ending. Oh wait, before you plagiarize, her name is, because I don't want this to be on YouTube and then I stole, courtesy of Brene Brown.